With Shigaraki gone, the world has finally started to rejuvenate. The weather forecast lady that we saw a couple of times during the arc informs us that the bad weather was cleared out, with only a strong wind remaining, created by Midoriya's punch that ended Shigaraki. In just a couple of days, heroes from all around the world have started to arrive in Japan to give aid in rebuilding the damages. You have to wonder where all these heroes were when Japan was fighting the Antichrist and his followers, but you know, better late than never. A couple of chapters are dedicated to showing us the efforts of all the heroes to fix different buildings and structures, but most importantly, we finally got a single panel of the GOAT inside the main manga. Koichi Himawari makes his first appearance in the main story, making him officially the best canonical character inside of the story of MHA, non-negotiable. Anyways, while the heroes continue repairing, we change locations to the hospital, where we see Bakugo, his parents, and Horikoshi's favorite character. Dr. Yoshi tells Bakugo that even though they did the best they could and put his broken arm in a good shape, it would most likely never be fully healed, and that if he wished to continue his work as a hero, he should get a robotic arm, pretty much telling him to cut it off, just like Miroko. And honestly, after seeing how his arm looked, the way they managed to fix it to this point should be considered a miracle. That arm was hanging onto his body for dear life, but Bakugo refuses to cut it off, since his quirk needs his palms to be activated, but even more so due to someone else not having something anymore, so he is ready to accept whatever harsh rehabilitation they give him. I wonder who that might be he is talking about, totally no clue. Well, after the doctor suggests Bakugo to rest for now, we immediately switch to Deku, who continues to be All Might's #1 glazer. The first thing he does after waking up is noting how he and All Might are in the same hospital room. Deku just saved the planet from the Antichrist, yet continues to idolize All Might. That's the kind of loyalty you will rarely, if ever, find in this world. But it seems that Deku feels he didn't accomplish what he said he would, since he wasn't able to save Tenko's life. He might have crushed the hatred inside of his heart, but up until the very end, he remained the leader of the League of Villains. Yet after a small nudge from All Might, he realizes that the crying boy was no longer there, and that he did manage to save him, with Shigaraki's final words being, "The future depends on you from now on, so give it your all," or something like that. I really can't tell you what says. Shigaraki is leaving his most likely final panel with a big smile on his face, bidding farewell to one of the best villains in Shonen Jump history. Sukuna could never. All Might tells Deku that Shigaraki surely understood his intentions when he transferred One for All to him, and Deku, whilst agreeing, tells us that there is still some embers of One for All lingering inside of him, just like All Might at the start of the series. And at the same time, Bakugo enters the room and is left speechless. He thought that Deku was quirkless once again, but it turns out he still had the original strength factor, making Bakugo reflect on different times during their lives, which makes him break down in tears. Honestly, not only this scene, but Bakugo as a whole are nothing but amazing. To see him go from bullying Izuku for not having a quirk to him crying the hardest we have seen from him from the whole series, thinking not only that he lost his rival, but what is effectively now his best friend, lost the one thing that made his dream possible, is beyond perfect. I'm not Bakugo's biggest fan, but his arc in the story is undeniably well written. Let's just hope that the shippers aren't incredibly annoying after seeing this scene. To finish this great scene, All Might, the one person that they both admire more than anyone, not only thank them for all they have done, but names them the greatest heroes. Literal peak fiction all around, with future Deku narrating how even though the war was over, there are still things left to be fixed. We see a shot of Deku, Kaminari, and Ida looking towards a destroyed UA. They would need to go beyond and show the people a bright future. With that ends chapter 424, named simply Epilogue, which pretty much confirms we have no more than 5 chapters remaining, and I feel even 5 chapters is pushing it. Well, fuck me, I guess. As always, just as I was about to upload, I saw this statement from Horikoshi. Now, How long this a little while is going to be, I cannot tell you, but it certainly would be more than 5 chapters. I can honestly see us getting an announcement and a countdown for the end on the anniversary. We only need to see some final plot points resolved, like what happened to the Todorokis, maybe a secret burial for the League members if they are even dead, which I really don't know how they wouldn't be, maybe a time skip for the end, and the series would be over. I have something planned for after the final chapter drops, something really special to my heart. Well, as we are ready to send off this generational series, I will leave this generational man from 2013 say some final words towards Deku.
Maybe you got rid of that old yee ass haircut you got, you get some bitches on your dick.